Okay, take two. I think things are better now. I don't know what the hell just happened. Oh, we should be good. Hey, how's it going, y'all? Usually I don't do repeats on these coin-op classic marathons, but this game just turned 25 years old as of last month, like a few weeks ago. So I figured I wanted to bring it back for the 25th anniversary because I love this game. It's one of my favorite games of all time. I have a long history with it. So we're gonna talk about it. All right, so this is gonna be a not quite like actually maybe I should start the timer when the game starts. Not quite like world record score attempt, but I'm gonna do like a little bit of score maximizing. I am not gonna let Milky die in the sewers. Shut up, Devil Ray. Don't make me come in there, Heidi. So we'll do some point pressing because it gives me a little time to talk about things with this game, right? Estimate should be good. Anyway, I have a choice between Lonely Wolf and Team Battle. Team Battle is always the way to go. And the fun thing is I can play Team Waifu. I can play all three female characters. Got a choice between 3 routes here. You can actually switch routes on the halfway point at stage 3, which I will be doing, but we always start with jungle route. And away we go. Shock Troopers. It's an overhead scrolling run and gun that came out in 1997. Released by a company named Saurus, which was a second-party developer of SNK. They were mostly responsible for doing a lot of home ports at the time, but then they started branching out into releasing games on the Neo Geo, and they released some games of questionable quality, like well, I guess they technically didn't program Ragnarok, but they made things like Pleasure Goal, the Stakes Winner games, stuff like that. Not really the games people really associate with the Neo Geo. The Neo Geo is mostly thought of mostly as a fighting game and Metal Slug console, but there's a lot of cool games on the system. And this is a game that slipped under the radar when it came out. A lot of people didn't get to see this in the arcade when it was new. It was getting I don't know. It didn't get as much distribution as the first Metal Slug did. I should talk more about my history with the game, but I should explain the mechanics of this game. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. You can roll through bullets or roll through attacks. You're completely invincible when you do that emergency roll, KOF style. And of course, the big thing with this game is that you have a melee attack. In Milky's case, it's more of a short-range gunshot, but like if I switch to Mary here, she's got a knife. Big Mama does punches. And so those close-range attacks are the key to high scores in this game. Because when you kill an enemy with a close-range attack like that, they drop an item. About like 75% of the time, it's going to be one of those blue gems, which gives you 30,000 points, but you can get other things. You can get life-ups. That yellow gem gives you invulnerability for a few seconds. You can get weapons. You can get bomb pickups. And then, of course, there's the red gem. One of the memes is, we hate the red gem around here. Because in score runs, that kind of kills everything on screen, which means you can't do melee kills on them. It's good for speedruns. Like, it's great for speed runs or survival runs. But for score runs, I always try to avoid them by like the plague, but sometimes they show up at the worst possible time, like if I'm just kind of guerrillaing it and just picking up items as soon as they appear. So you gotta be like kind of careful. But yeah, there's a lot of weapons. There's a heavy machine gun there, a 3-way shot. And then there's the flamethrower. Because you see, chat. There's a thing people say about flamethrowers in video games. They're either really good or really bad. And in this game, the flamethrower is actually the worst weapon in the game. It's worse than the default shot. Because you get a very slow string of attacks with it. It does shit for damage on, like, bosses. You never want the flamethrower. Do not pick up the flamethrower. If you pick up the flamethrower, you're screwing up. Yes, I know I had to say it. It kind of became a meme because I was saying it, like, way too much in, like, my practice attempts of this for, like, another marathon, which was, like, that was, like, 7 years ago. Holy shit. Also, I'm committing war crimes here, by the way. Actually, getting bonus points if I shoot that guy in the back. Uh-oh. Taking some damage here. Luckily this game is pretty nice with the health drops. Okay, I still have, like, plenty of time on this stage. Oh, there was the bomb drop. Bombs are an extremely rare pickup. I mean, it always appears there. Like, bombs have, like, preset points and stages where you can get a full bomb refill, but getting it from an enemy drop, that's extremely rare. Like, I could go the entire game without seeing a single bomb pickup drop from an enemy. Come on, where are the rest of the dudes? Kill these guys stretching out. Like to leash it out here for just a few more enemies. I got plenty of time for the boss. Yeah, fuck it, let's just go. Alright, so first boss. It's a big tank. A lot of these tank bosses have similar attack patterns. But they get a little harder as you go on. I haven't even really been using the bombs. Milky's bomb is one of the best in the game. It does a lot of damage, and it lingers for a while. That guy runs off. We'll get revenge on him later. Yay, okay. Yeah, the bosses, they do tend to flash a lot when you shoot them, and they take up a lot of space, so it is kind of bright. Unfortunately, there's no option to, like, reduce it. Did they add one in the arcade Classics Archives port? No, I don't remember. But yeah, we got cutscenes. So the evil Bloody Scorpion group kidnapped this girl's grandfather to develop a drug that's gonna make his soldiers invincible somehow. He's giving them PCP? I don't know. I mean, you don't really need a storyline for a game like this, but they went the extra mile. Anyway, stage 2 on this route actually puts you on a motorcycle. And funny thing is, you still have access to the dodge button, the roll button. When she headbangs like that, that's basically a dodge. And you're still completely invincible when you do it. But just the fact that you have, like, a dodge button in this game means that there's nothing in this game that's, like, completely, like, unavoidable. Like, if you ever take damage in this game, it's your own fault. And if you do take damage, I mean, there's plenty of chances to get health back. Look at that. There's a +8 right there. Although +8 health doesn't really restore much. The standard life bar is 64 points of health. At least on this version. That's another thing. There's two versions of this game, which has led to some confusion. There was an earlier revision where when you play like either Lonely Wolf or Team Mode, you only have one life. And if you play in Team Mode, all three characters share a single life bar, which is kind of weird. So they made the health bar 128 points to compensate for that. Oh, here comes the jam. A little dynamite selection hits you every time, yeah. I just want to shut up and listen to the music. Oh yeah, when you're climbing the mountain on like stage 2 of the mountain route, yeah, you just jump off the mountain and then jump back on. But yeah, what was I saying about the versions again? There are two versions. Like for the longest time, the other version was like the main ROM set in MAME, and this version was treated as a clone. But this version seemed to come later, because from all the research people have done, like this version of the game with the 3 lives was usually found on cartridges of the game that had like a higher serial number, because Neo Geo cartridges, if the serial number hasn't been like crossed out, which some distributors did to like, I don't know. Earlier versions of the game had like a serial number that was lower, but I think this is like this is the version I've always seen in an arcade. Anytime I've like run into this game in an arcade, it's always been this version of the game. So it was very confusing because the One Life version was the first version that was like dumped and made playable in emulators back in like 1998. Holy crap, I'm old. Come on, where are the enemies? Trying to get a few extra enemies to come out. Good enough. Watch it, watch it, watch it, watch it, watch it, watch it, watch it. I'm not even doing the full score milking here. I guess this is more of a casual run than anything else. But yeah, this game's drum and bass soundtrack. This wasn't like a super common thing in games at the time. I'm a big fan of the soundtrack. I think it's one of the best soundtracks in the game. Because I should mention, like, the first time I saw this game in an arcade, back in early 1998, at one of the there was a chain of arcades in San Antonio, Texas called Diversions. And each of those, like, they had like 5 or 6 locations like spread out around San Antonio. And they had like a deal where, like, if you spent $10, you got 100 tokens, which is pretty good. And every location had like 2 Neo Geo 6 slots, and all the Neo Geos would always be like 1 token per play. So you were playing, you could play Neo Geo games for 10 cents. And they were actually like buying new Neo Geo games. So that's the first place I saw it. Hold on, I'm gonna watch this lore. There's a good voice sample here. Cecilia. So if you have Jackal in your party, who's the main character, there's there's an extra cutscene of Cecilia saying like, "I know you'll come to rescue me, Jackal." Oh, wait, I should switch to Big Mama here. Cozy, 50% off. So yeah, the first time I played this game, like I didn't really know much about it. Like I'd heard about it. I was on this thing called the Neo Geo mailing list. And the only thing I remember like anybody saying about the game was like that it wasn't that great, like the graphics were ass. Something like that. Like they didn't really have a very positive opinion of the game. So I didn't know what to expect from this, but I gave it a try. And I was like, hey, this is actually pretty fun. Like, I quickly got used to, like, the, rolling through enemies and doing close-range melee attacks to, like, get points. I was like, hey, this game's pretty sick, actually. I think I ended up using, like, 3 or 4 continues to, like, play all the way through it. Obviously, I didn't once you see it on the first try, but it took a few continues to do it. And after I'd played it, I thought, man, I would definitely play more of this. Because it has multiple routes and everything. Oh, hang in there, kitty. But that was the only time I played it that day. I wanted to go visit all the other arcade locations. And then the next time I came back to that arcade, you see, Neo Geo cabinets, they have like a headphone slot underneath. You can plug in headphones and listen to the game's audio in the arcade directly into your ears. Also, I'm gonna do the Duff City strat on this guy. Don't worry, Big Mama can take it. Because when you kill a human boss like this with a close range attack, they're guaranteed to drop a first aid kit, which is a full heal, and you get double points. So always try to kill human bosses with a close range attack if you can get it. They start flashing red before it happens, so it makes it easier to tell. But yeah, that second time I played it, like I brought my old Game Boy headphones, just because I always thought the novelty of playing a game in the arcade with like headphone slots was pretty cool. And so I had done that before at my local arcade back in the day, but listening to Magician Lord with headphones on or earphones on, that was fun. And so the second time I played this, I had the full audio experience, and my God, it's like it changed my life. I was like, this soundtrack fucking rules. Like, I pretty much wanted to play the game just for the soundtrack at that point. But I kind of kept playing it because I wanted to do that ultimate goals, get the 1cc. Like, even back then, I was like, I always thought it would be cool to get 1cc's on games. There weren't many games I could do it on yet, but I was definitely motivated to learn it for this game. And sure enough, I did get a 1cc, but that wasn't enough. I wanted to keep going for higher scores. Because I think like the first time I 1cc'd it, my score was like 13, 14 million, something like that. So I kept looking for like new ways to like squeeze points out of the game. Figuring out you can just like you can just stall in certain areas, get more enemies to come out. And so my PBs would go up like little by little. Like I was getting like 16, 17 million, then 18, 19, 20. Around the time I was up to 20 million, that's about the time like the game got emulated. So I was able to like keep practicing it at home. Although those early emulators didn't even have sound yet. So that did kind of... It killed the motivation a little bit to play this game without sound, but... No, I kept playing. And so I think it was like over the course of like a year or two. Yeah, at least a couple years. I eventually reached like 29.5 million, and that was like pretty much... I thought that was like pretty much my limit. Like I'd have lots of scores in the 28 million point range, but I just couldn't break through. I couldn't get any higher than like 29.5 million. 30 million looked doable, but I couldn't quite do it. I'm gonna kill this guy. At that point, I was like sure I had like the world record, but as it turns out, the old Gamest record was like 31.3 million. And so I was like a couple million short. And that kind of motivated me again to try to figure out what I was missing, but I just couldn't do it. And this was like back in 2001. So there was no YouTube. There was nowhere to go like look up replays and stuff. There was the Main Action replay page, which people submitted replays to, but like nobody was playing this game for score. And I was always like looking for like anybody to discuss this game with. Like I was starting threads on the Neo Geo forums, on the Main Action replay page forums, and like nobody was playing this game at the level I was playing at, and I couldn't get like anybody to like play it along with me and like try to like kick ideas off of on what I could be missing in terms of like squeezing more points out of this game. At one point I thought like I could break the world record by playing on the European BIOS default, which turns blood off. Like by default, blood's turned on, so when you shoot an enemy like that, they have like a random chance to just die a bloody death like that. And that's a problem when playing for score, because every time you shoot an enemy, it's worth points. And when blood's turned off, every time you shoot somebody, you can shoot them up to 13 times before they drop. And so if there's like the soldiers in white, they're worth like 3,000 points per shot. The purple ones are worth like 5,000 points per shot. So if you shoot a purple soldier 13 times, that's like 65,000 points. But the trick was you wanted to shoot them like 12 times or close to 12 times, but then get close enough to be the close range attack, which is worth double points and has a chance to drop an item, which is usually a 30,000 point gem. So you could potentially get 100,000 points off one soldier. Things like that. The problem was when you play with blood on, there's that random chance that they're just gonna drop like that. And after playing on that for a while, I couldn't believe it took me like this long to notice. It was in like 2007, like a barcade where I live right now, called Ground Control. They put in a Neo Geo 4 slot that just happened to have shock troopers in it, and that got me like motivated to start playing it again, just because I like the even though I could play it at home, I just like the option to play it in an arcade environment. I thought that was fun. And like immediately, it's what I noticed here. Whenever you're in a water stage, like this stage, you're always allowed to shoot enemies 13 times. That guy up there, he's not in the water, so you can actually he'll actually like drop from getting shot. But anybody in the water, you can actually do that. You can actually shoot them multiple times to get more points per shot. And so that got me closer to the 31 million, but then there was like one more thing I had to figure out. And unfortunately, that would require like sacrificing one of your party members, because when you run out of time, the game like adds an extra 20 seconds. So I kind of figured like this stage was a good stage to to sacrifice somebody because you can get a lot of points on this stage. One could actually sacrifice 2 characters, but I never went that far. So it was just having that knowledge that I was missing for so many years that gave me the that was all I needed to finally figure it out. And I beat that 31.3 million. And now the highest score on these default settings is like 714,800, I think. 32.7 million. And nobody has produced a higher score than me, so I still have the highest score in the world in this game until proven otherwise. It was a journey that took me a long time to reach the destination, and it made me sad that like nobody was like everything I did in this game I kind of figured out on my own. Like nobody was I didn't steal like strats from anybody else. Nobody was playing alongside me. There were no goals I was chasing other than that old Japanese record. But yes, I do still have the highest score in the world. I think I also have the fastest like 1cc speedrun too. There was a time where I was like, I just started like attempting speedruns of this just for fun on stream. And I think I have the fastest 1cc run. I was actually looking, and people like people have optimized it pretty well for like credit feeding, where you just you use a lot of bombs and die and then come back. But I don't consider that as impressive. I think it's more fun to 1cc the game instead of like dying over and over just to get more bombs and shit. Oh yeah, the stage has 2 different routes. That's like a bonus route if you destroy that bridge fast enough. Yeah, so like these purple soldiers are worth 5,000 points a shot, so you can always get like at least 65,000 on them as long as you keep shooting them before they drop. Also, they take 2 hits, so you have to like shoot them once and then get them to jump towards you and then start shooting them. That guy got in the way. So when in doubt, the safe strat is to, in the water stages, do this. Of course, if you're playing with blood turned off, you can just do that on every stage. Ooh, the rare hyper gun. That's a rare drop. Hyper gun is super powerful. Let's save it for the boss. I just want to wreck the boss. Watch these bombs in this guys. Don't want the Vulcan. Yeah, the 5-star pull. I guess we're just gonna speed along. Not sacrificing Milky this time. That's a lot of flashing. And that's the power of the hyper gun. Oh yeah, there's gonna be some screen flashing here too. Idiots. That's kind of obnoxious. Okay, one thing I didn't talk about with this game. Obviously, there's the whole Lonely Wolf and team mode thing. When you pick Lonely Wolf on this version, you get 3 lives, and so each life has their own health bar. But obviously, you can't switch between characters anytime like you can in team mode. So in team mode, everybody has their own health bar, and they have like their own bombs. When you play in Lonely Wolf mode, you actually get like a higher maximum of bombs. Like most characters will have 15 bombs max instead of 10. So there's a small perk to playing Lonely Wolf, but I always recommend team mode, just because being able to like abuse the iframes when you tag out to a new character is always fun. And also it helps because this game has a weird system that isn't really explained very well, where characters will behave differently on the same stage in terms of like speed. Like Milky and Mary have the same base speed, but look how slow Milky is here. And then I switch to Mary. She's way faster. But they're ordinarily supposed to have like the same base stats of like speed and defense and all that. But this game has this weird system where different characters are supposed to be better for certain routes. And unfortunately, this version doesn't really tell you which routes are better for those characters. If your arcade got the full like MVS kit, it came with like a little sticker that said like this character is like best suited for jungle, best suited for valley, etc., etc. And then for whatever reason, that only applies to the first part of the stage, and now Milky's moving quickly, but. Although I guess Mary's moving a little faster. But yeah, it's kind of a weird system. I kind of wish it wasn't in the game, but it's alright. It doesn't break anything. Shoot the fire hydrant. But yeah, every character has like different base stats. They don't tell you what the stats are, but there's different stats for like walking speed. Defense, like how much damage they take from hits, and whether or not they have a single shot or a double shot gun. Because by default, like 5 of the 8 characters have a single shot gun, which does less damage. But Big Mama, Southern Cross, and Maru have the double shot guns. So if you don't have a weapon, switching to a character with a double shot gun will let you do more damage on bosses. Which is another reason I recommend like playing team mode, so you have a big character for bosses like that. Also helps that the characters with the double shot guns tend to have higher defense, except for Maru. Maru actually has less defense, but Big Mama and Southern Cross are the same in terms of like how much defense they have. They'll actually take the least amount of damage from attacks. Slam Knight, 50 minutes. So the rare speed up pickup, which only increases your speed for this stage. I want that heavy machine gun. Oh, fire at me again. Still got plenty of time. Oh, I thought I'd despawn one of the tanks. I want to keep that tank alive. I think it's that one. Maybe it was one on the left. Yeah, there's a bomb drop. Okay, everybody's... Oh no, she's... For some reason, Big Mama's bomb max is 8 instead of 10. Alright, so this boss is... It's another tank boss, but... its attack patterns are harder. It always does like 3 shots in a row, or does a triple shot. And then later he's going to start throwing bombs out. There we go. And a flamethrower. Too much stuff going on. Anyway, it's another human boss. Gonna try to kill him with a close range attack, of course, because he's got a base value of 500,000 points if you shoot him. So a melee kill gives you a cool million. Also, he likes to roll around. Another thing I appreciate about this game is that, like, running into enemies, like, doesn't do damage. The only contact damage in this game exists, like, when you get run over by a tank. But otherwise, you just bounce off of enemies. I mean, enemies do have, like, their own close-range attacks if you sit in front of them for too long. Oh, I should be switching to Mama, because she's got the double shotgun. That's what I was just talking about. So her shots do more damage. Wait till he's flashing red. Oh. Slide in, get that kill. Alright, final stage. Final stage is always the same, depending on route. Yeah, I didn't even really, like, talk about the routes that much. There's Jungle, Valley, and Mountain route. I do Jungle for the first half and then switch to Valley for the second route. So if you want to see everything this game has to offer, you gotta play it, like, a minimum of 3 times. This route just tends to be the most lucrative in terms of score. Not necessarily the fastest in terms of speedruns, though. Because also... Oh, that's another thing I forgot to mention. If you... Ah, red gem! If you take the... if you switch routes after stage 3, you go onto an extra stage. That stage where you're, like, on top of a train. You'll actually skip that stage if you pick the same route twice. So you get extra content if you decide to switch stages. Oops. Right. But yeah, Milky and Mary take lots of damage. They'll die in 3 hits if you don't pick up a health drop. But Big Mama can survive up to 4 hits. And for the most part, enemy attacks usually do, like, the same amounts of damage. The only exception is that, like, enemies, like, close-range attacks, they barely do anything. They do, like, half of a bullet. So there's even more incentive to go for close-range kills, because if you get hit by their stab, it doesn't hurt that much. Oops. Milky could end up dying anyway. Come on, health drops. Yeah. Bananas! Ow. See, that didn't do much. I can still, like, take 1 hit. What is this guy doing? I must admit, the Bloody Scorpion suffered heavy losses. For this, mankind shall face terror as it has never felt before. Remember, the Bloody Scorpion will never cease to exist as long as I live. Okay, bye. So the final stage, the final part of the stage takes place on their giant jet. So this isn't going to be like a super high scoring run. My final score is going to be like 25.3 million. So that's already like 7 million below my world record. That's how much stuff I skipped. There's a lot that goes into like optimizing this game for score. But I wanted to make it a little more casual. So I haven't really gone all out I haven't done like major score attempts in like, I think it was like 5 years ago. It was like right before Christmas 2017 when I like beat my old record by like 10,000 points or something. Ah, the red jetpack assholes. Everybody's favorite enemies. Use a bomb to damage them as much as I can. Oh, I didn't do enough damage. Switch to Mary because I want her out for the start of the boss. Her bomb is actually a homing missile. So I like to do this for the first phase. Big laugh. Now he's the last boss, so he doesn't drop a first aid kit when you kill him, but You do get double points for killing him with a close range attack. 1.6 million instead of 800,000, so obviously we're going for it. Alright, come down here. It's random whether he does the sword swipe or he does the spread shot. The sword swipe's much easier to dodge. Oop, stop, stop, stop. Gotta wait till he stops with this. There we go. And time. What a good game. Of course, one thing that drove me nuts about this game in the arcade is that there's no way to skip the ending. And you gotta wait until the staff roll to, like, put in your initials. So I'd have to sit through this long ending every single time. Oh. Audio skipping there a bit. This slow text crawl of Cecilia talking about peaceful days and terrifying memories. No, I don't want to see this. Hurry up. Oh, you get different pictures in the ending depending on which characters you used. Not really like unique character endings, but it's something. Get Milky in a bikini. And kitties. Nope, Santa Claus jump scare. Oh yeah, there is an extra bit like before that if you have Jackal in your party where Jackal and Cecilia share a tender kiss. There he is. He didn't even do anything. They were pushing Jackal so hard. Turns out he's like kind of the worst character in the game because he's got the worst bomb. Like all his stats are average in terms of like speed and defense, but what really makes characters stand out in this game is having like a good special weapon. And he just throws this piddly grenade that does like no damage. So yeah, he kind of sucks. Also, the voice of the commander was Meijin Takahashi, Mr. 16 Shot himself. That's a fun bit of trivia. And you. Wait for it, wait for it. Pooh! Stop laughing at me, Meijin Takahashi. Anyway, that's Shock Troopers. If you haven't played this game, you should really change that. Everybody needs to play this game at least once. Anyway, I'll be right back with Silkworm. So stay tuned.